Welcome back to my channel, guys, and thank you for stopping by. So you guys already know what tutorial you're about to see. First things first, I make sure my recap is in place, is secure by using these T-pins, and the next thing I do is select a shade of net or mesh that is closest to the owner of the wig I'm making. Now this is something I do for every braid kind of wig that I wouldn't be using a frontal or a closure for. I make use of this kind of net to one, to blend with the skin of the person, and two, to have a strong hold, because the net that is usually on the crown of this kind of wig cap is always very soft. So what I just do is I place the net on the crown of the wig cap and then I start to sew. There's a particular method of sewing I use in attaching the net to the wig cap, and this is so that the thread doesn't really get to show.
I've been stuck on your memory, but it's not like I need it, and we may have some history, but we don't have to repeat it.
Now when tucking in this net in the front part of the wig cap, I try to make sure everywhere is all smoothened out so that by the time I'm done sewing, everything looks even and smoothened out basically. So here is the method of sewing I was talking about earlier, guys. You see how it's just dots of thread that are showing. The major part of the thread is under the wig cap. So at this point, I'm just going to make sure I tack everything and secure the mesh on the wig cap properly. On a side note, this wig wasn't made for me, so there might be slight difference in the tone of the net being sewn and my skin tone. That is when I get to try it out for you guys to see how it looks. And as it is with a closure or frontal, it's always best to apply your foundation or your powder on the wig so that it blends out evenly with your skin tone. And by wig, I mean the crown area. Because this process is not done by a machine or something of that sort, there will definitely come a point where you'll have to fold the net like I'm doing so here, so that the sewing will come out smooth as we want it to be. Now this folding can actually be done at any point in the sewing process, but I usually like to do mine towards the end when I am almost done with everything and I have everything all figured out. So after sewing, I cut off any extra piece of net like I'm doing so, and even under the wig cap, any extra piece of net, I cut everything off.
I just can't let you go.
In the previous video, I already showed how to twist a kinky braid so it gets that bouncy look. But for the sake of those who haven't seen the video, I'm going to give the tutorial here again. Now, as you can see, the back is looking scanty, but it doesn't mean I wouldn't still come back to, you know, fill it up again. I am just after the crown area. I want to make sure the crown is filled up the way I want it, and then that will determine my coming back to the back side to fill it up. Now I am going to show the difference between how to twist a Kinky braid and how a kinky braid is twisted. As you can see here, as I start out twisting, I start by twisting one end of the braid, and after that is twisted, on the other end I twist it as well before I then do the main twist. Now this is how a Kinky braid is done. You twist both strands and then, you know, do the main twist. So that, because in the previous video I only just explained it but I didn't show, and I've noticed some people really like to see what they are being taught rather than it just being described. So that's why I'm trying to put out the difference here. The two strands of Kinky hair are being twisted first before I then do the main twist. But that is different for a kinky braid, and that I'm going to show you guys soon. So here I am trying to fill up the crown area of the wig, and if you notice, I am not twisting each end of the kinky braid like I did for the cankelon. Rather, I am stretching and then flipping. I'm not going to use the word twist, so there's no mistake here. For kinky braid, for the purpose of kinky braid, I'm going to use the word flip. So I am stretching both ends and then flipping them to achieve that bouncy look I want it to have. Now, usually these kinky braids come tangled and sponged in some areas, so wherever I notice such sponging, I try to detangle them like I'm doing so right now, so it's smoothened out, and then I continue with my flipping process. And then to trim the tips, I always make use of razor blade rather than scissors to make sure the tip still maintains its curly nature. Always stretch after every twist, it ensures its bounciness. So I'm just going ahead to fill up the wig, and you may want to take note of the way I am filling it up. If you notice, I am crocheting every strand in between two below it. That's the method I'm using to fill up the wig. Sometimes, depending on the area of the side, I might crochet 2 strands of the kinky braid in between two below it. It just depends on the space left between. This is something you will definitely get to figure out yourself as you go on.
Between us, I can't focus, I can't forget.
So here's a clearer view of what I meant when I said crocheting each strand in between 2 strands that are below it. So at this point, I have filled up the crown area like I want to, but then behind it you can see the back is obviously scanty. So here now I would have a better idea of how I'm going to fill up the back area, or how I'm going to fill up the whole wig generally. This will just give me a clearer view of where I should put and where I shouldn't put, so that the wig doesn't come out unnecessarily bulky, so that it just comes out exactly the size I want it to come out. Now that I have an idea of the spaces I should fill up with more kinky, I'm just going to come to the front and work on the, would I call it baby hairs or something of that sort, so that kind of hide the fact that it's a wig. So in doing so, I just cut the kinky hair into short pieces and then crochet them and tie. I usually tie like 2 times, so I feel they are more secure. So when you're done, you simply comb out the baby hairs and then trim as desired. In my case, I'm using my razor comb to do the trimming. This razor comb comes very handy whenever I have a trimming or a cutting work to do. I'd also recommend the baby hairs are trimmed very well because they are not human hair and they are not flexible. They're only just there to hide the fact that it's a wig. So here is how the wig looks, guys. This is the finished look. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Till next time, guys, stay blessed, stay out of trouble. Bye bye.